Well, Jim, speaking of close shaves, let's talk about some other topics in wrestling and, of course, outside of wrestling, too. One of the ones that I guess because you've commented on it in the past and also it somehow is very, not somehow, for reasons that are obvious, it's a little reminiscent of some of the Vince McMahon stuff. What do you think of the arrest this past week of Sean Combs, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Diddy? I think he changed his name to Love once, which is crazy considering all these stories about how he shared his love, apparently. At parties he called freakouts, where for days at a time, loaded on drugs, being secretly videotaped, with, I would assume, a good amount considering they recovered 1,000 bottles of lube and baby oil from his house. I'm guessing there was a lot of lathering up happening there.
You know, if somebody hadn't heard about this story, they're going, what the fuck is he talking about?
Well, I'll stop now and we'll expand from here. What are your thoughts on the arrest of P. Diddy and the chance that he may never see freedom again?
Well, we have talked about Daddy Diddy and all the little itty-bitty ditties in the past on the program, and I was not familiar with a lot of Diddy's work or his music or his whatever the heck else he's been involved in. But now suddenly, boom, they came down, swooped down, the feds, and arrested him for not only sex trafficking and drug trafficking, traffic violations, arson is in there, assault.
RICO.
A conspiracy, racketeering, whatever the fuck. I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing. Finding heroin is one thing, or finding illegal stockpiles of weapons is another thing, but goddamn, it's hard to talk your way out of it when they find you with 1,000 bottles of lube, isn't it?
See, let's stop right there, because let's just say we were going to have an orgy, right?
Oh, well, you can go ahead and say it. I'm reserving comment till I find out who else besides you is attending.
I'm not saying I'm going to attend, but let's say there's an orgy and we're part of the party team, I guess.
The cast. We're in the cast.
If you're going to have, let's say, 8 people, how many bottles of baby oil or lube would that be? How much lube is needed, right? Doesn't a little bit go a long way? Isn't that the point of lube?
Well, that used to be one of their commercial taglines, a little dab will do ya, on the Astroglide. But I would think that even if you're going for 2 or 3 days on all these wild wonder drugs that were apparently being passed around, that still 1 bottle of lube, well, it depends on the size, but I saw pictures of bottles of lube that looked pretty good size. These weren't like pocket or purse.
Wait, were those his, or was it just a generic photo of bottles of lube?
Well, no, it was the bottles of lube that the FBI... Do you think that's the first time the FBI ever had to confiscate bottles of lube?
Do they have to, sit down with a pen and write down what's baby oil and what's KY jelly?
They gotta inventory everything, but I would think that 1 bottle of lube per person would do you for a couple of days because, after a while, you don't have to reapply that shit that often. So was he having 1,000? Where was he holding this thing? The Jaffa Mosque in fucking Pennsylvania?
Well, no, apparently he was doing it at times, at least in hotels, because there was some hotel in New York that after this story broke said that he had to pay, I want to say $50,000 to repair a giant room that everything was covered in baby oil. So he brought it into the hotel. I guess that's another thing. Someone had to carry a bunch of lube and baby oil into the hotel.
Well, so what are the fucking bellhops down there going, oh, wait, that's just Diddy's people carrying in his baby oil.
And
that's
drugs.
What that hand truck is.
And apparently drugs. Apparently there were drugs and lube and all sorts of who knows what. And again, secret cameras.
And you got to steam clean those carpets and the drapes to get the lube out of that hotel room.
If you have to replace the drapes, that's expensive. There are no cheap drapes.
No. So right there, but now here's another thing, though. He is a wealthy man, is Diddy, because he was offering it. They don't want to hold it. They don't want to let him out on bail. They want to hold him.
Well, they are holding him. This has been determined now. They're not letting him out on bail.
Yes, that's why I said they don't want to let him out on bail. They want to hold him because he's got more money than the federal government. They figure he can just fly away to a private island or whatever. But he was saying he would put $50 million bail up, that he wouldn't go anywhere. What would that be? Would that be a 10th or a 20th of the money that he's got? Maybe.
Well, it's hard to say because, again, what he's got, what is that?
Well, it might be chlamydia, too, as we find out now.
I guess the point is a lot of the revenue streams are drying up. Who's going to
see, that's why he needed the lube.
All right, you know.
But here's the thing. He's got all that money. Here's the point I was going to make with this. He's got all that money. Why did he need to buy the lube from Costco in bulk? Why couldn't he just buy, as he's having a freak out or a fuck off or whatever it was, why didn't he just buy the lube needed for that individual freak out or fuck off? Why did he have to buy and stockpile? Then he's got evidence against him, and also...
Maybe he got a good deal in bulk.
Well, yeah, but he's rich. He doesn't need to buy in bulk. I mean, only the poor people that have orgies with 75 or 100 people need to buy the lube in bulk. There's a lot of bad judgment went into this all the way around.
And apparently at these parties, and again, stories are now coming out, and it's one thing hearing stories about Diddy, because I heard things way back when I was in the music industry, but not like this. But stories are now coming out from people who were there. I just saw an interview with some, I guess, male prostitute who was arrested a few years ago for shooting up Trump's golf course.
Was his name Deuce Bigelow?
It wasn't Deuce Bigelow, but he had shot up Trump's golf course and they arrested him.
How do you shoot up a golf course? I'm gonna nail that hole in one, bam, bam. But what?
Well, apparently when he was being...
Did he get stiffed by Trump too? I mean, not paid.
When he was being interviewed, he started saying how, yeah, they brought him in to have sex with, Cassie in front of Puff Daddy, and Puff Daddy would sit there and masturbate. And he went to these parties, and Rick Ross and Puffy are gay, and there were all these big rappers having sex with each other.
Rick Ross, wasn't he that big motherfucker on AEW TV?
Well, no, he called out the big motherfucker. That was Keith Lee who... Where's he?
Well, he was a pretty good-sized son of a bitch himself.
Well, again, this is according to the stories that are now going out, and they're coming out in articles, and again, there are accusations that apparently at these parties you would have male rappers having sex with each other, which again, it changes the way you see a lot of the guys who are acting real hard on like they're ladies' men if they're all just getting bombed with Puffy and fucking each other.
Well, and I know somebody out there goes, oh, lives have been damaged by this horrible activity. I don't give a fuck who's in goddamn Diddy Daddy's social circle, or if you were hanging around Daddy Diddy and any of the little itty bitty ditties, you're probably fucking nuts too.
How worried do you think celebrities, rappers, musicians, whoever it may be, politicians maybe, how worried do you think they are? Just like a Jeffrey Epstein kind of thing where apparently it's not about a flight log, it's about videotapes. There's video evidence of who was at these freak-offs that he was secretly recording.
Well, now, are these all innocent victims and or professionally paid individuals, or are there stories of celebrities and public figures being mixed into these videos?
Reportedly celebrities and public figures being at these parties freaking off.
Well, in that case, they're probably going to be freaking out.
Well, we will
and
see.
I'll tell you one thing. I haven't been to any of Daddy Diddy's parties since the home video came into being.
Well, we will see what happens with Diddy.
But back in the 60s, me and Diddy's daddy, we had fun.
Diddy's daddy was a connected guy. He was hooked up with Frank Lucas.
So he hooked up with Frank Lucas, so they're all just having sex indiscriminately.
That's not what I'm saying. All right, well, let's move on from this pervert to another pervert